This is the Phoenix mind, where the fire refines, break the chains and rise to shine. Rise on the lead with heart, every end a brand new start. With Lisa Manzo, we transform, we ignite. This is the Phoenix mind.
Hi, welcome to the Phoenix Mind Podcast. I'm your host, Lisa Manzo, and today I have special guest, Carrie KC West, and I'm going to read you her bio so I don't miss a thing. Carrie is a best-selling author, speaker, and narrative coach who helps leaders, writers, and individuals rewrite their stories that shape their lives and careers. With a BS in counseling psychology from Penn State and an MFA in filmmaking from the American Film Institute, Carrie blends deep psychological insight with masterful storytelling skills, honed as a script and a book analyst for the entertainment industry. Her work is rooted in lived experiences, rising from a challenging childhood, navigating transformative personal growth, and building a career dedicated to helping others turn breakdowns into breakthroughs. She is the author of Life Rewritten, an international bestseller, a guide to changing the narratives that hold us back. Known for her authentic, engaging style, Carrie empowers audiences to see that it is the pen in their hand, and it's never too late to rewrite their story. Welcome.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
What is MFA? I just want to know.
Masters of Fine Arts.
Okay, thank you. I needed to know that, and all you in the audience that didn't know either, now we know. Now we're informed. So I would love for you to tell us a little bit about why you do what you do, how you got here. Tell us a little bit of your life story. My audience wants to know.
Excellent. And I'm sorry my image is starting to freeze, but I hope you can hear me.
I can hear you.
Good. Um, I had a rough childhood. I was rejected the day I was born. My mother just decided, yeah, I already have two kids. I don't need this third one. And so even though she took me home, she didn't feed me often. She didn't change my diaper. She didn't comfort me when I cried. So I was in a load of trouble. I almost died a couple of times, and that led to a really rough beginning. You know, when you don't have a good foundation, and I had to grow up really, really fast. I didn't have a childhood. I had a ghost of a childhood eventually. And so what happened is in my 20s, I realized I was totally screwed. If I didn't do something to change my life, it was going to be wasted. It was going to be a wasted life. I was in so much emotional and psychological pain that I hadn't even identified at that point.
Wow.
So, go ahead.
I said that sounded tough.
Yeah, yeah. But when I went to work on myself, I went through therapy and personal growth and development and metaphysics and the whole shebangy. But it wasn't until I was in film school in my early 30s that it occurred to me that I was a storyteller. I always had been. Stories saved my life. When you're a kid, you find ways to comfort yourself. I didn't suck my thumb until I was 2 or 3, but as an infant, I remember telling myself stories to calm me down. So my favorite story was the one that my real mom and dad were looking for me. And when they found me, I would have this beautiful life where I was loved and I was cherished and I had new clothes and I was cared for and people laughed around me. My house was kind of depressing. So that kept me alive. I'm really convinced of it. So in film school, one day we were in our groups filming our projects and we're talking about all these things that go into a story and who are the characters and what are the plot points and what's the arc of the protagonist and how do they get there? I was like, my life is a story. I have, if I'm the protagonist, which you hope you are, Then my mom was the antagonist. My older sister was the foil. I didn't have a love interest, although I adored my father, even though he ignored me. I longed for him. I didn't have any mentors or sages, but I certainly had plots and story arcs about this journey I found myself on. So when I got that insight, I started looking at my story, my life, from the perspective of a story. And I looked at my origin story, which is your backstory. You know how when you go to a movie or you read a book, if you think about it, when you're born, you're walking into a play that's already in the second act.
Yeah.
Have you ever walked into a movie 20 minutes in, you were late, something happened, and you're like, what happened? What happened? What's going on? What's going on? Well, that's what you are as a baby. Your parents have been living this life for at least a couple of decades, you hope. I mean, if it's only 1.5 decades, it's another story altogether. But if it's you hope they've got a couple of decades under their belt, right? So they already have their stories. They have a relationship between the mom and dad. If they have kids, if they have extended family, maybe you're adopted. There's but all this story. And so our first natural calling is to belong. And you belong with this family unit that's around you. So you figure out, what do I need to do to fit in? And the first thing you look at is language. What language am I listening to? What are the words they're saying? But then the emotions, because you really don't have, you're non-verbal, so you've got all these emotions. So you're responding to these emotions that come your way. And for me, I was just responding to negative, 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 negative. We don't like you. Wish you weren't here. Kind of things coming at me, and I was like, oh man. So I had to take that in and make sense of it. Your brains always want to make sense of life. They want coherence. They want order. And
Yep.
so it takes that information, and stories are a perfect way to structure things. Okay, here's our main characters: mom, dad, brother, sister, dog, aunt, uncle, grandmother, best friend who's always there. So your brain aligns all the characters. And then your brain says, okay, well, the parents aren't very friendly. So that's a storyline. Or the parents are loving and whatever. It's a storyline. She cried today and nobody came in. That's a storyline. So your brain is constantly putting this information into perspective. So it just fit for me and it worked. And I'll tell you, I love what you said before we started recording, which is you offer a lot of ways for people to consider. And that's something I say in my book. Don't just do my thing my way. Take the pieces that resonate with you and incorporate that into your process. Because I'm everything that I do is a mishigosh of everything I've done. All the people I studied with, all the workshops I went to, all the metaphysics stuff I did, all the classwork I did, all of that has formed what I do today. We
And
can't
life's
be.
a buffet. Life's a buffet. Pick what you want.
Yes, yes. Why do you want to duplicate what worked for me? You're not me.
Exactly.
Take what I'm saying and use it for yourself in the way that works for you. Or not. It's just more options, right?
Oh, so, I love options. One day, yeah, one day I was in the doctor's office, right? And it's a silly story, but I was getting orthotics and I didn't know I had choices. Like I thought there was only one kind. I don't know where I got that thought from, but it was in my head. And when the doctor said, well, and then he said, and I'm like, I got options.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And honestly, when I meet somebody and they're saying this is the only way to go, I kind of go, is it? Is it?
Is it?
Is it the only way to go? Really?
There's so many other ways that you could go.
I know. Oh,
But
I
some people's view is so narrow, and I
I
go,
know. I know.
this is their viewpoint, and the viewpoint is like wide open. There's so many things people miss because they're just, I'm not sure what the word is. They're just so restricted in their vision.
Oh, not only that, I had a call this morning from somebody that was like, this is the way we have to do it. And it's like, well, that's kind of restrictive and it will kind of hold a bunch of us back. That's okay. This is the way we're going to do it. All right. So I'm doing it that way, and they're not happy.
Uh-huh.
Why are you asking me all these questions? Well, you said this was the way you wanted to go, so I'm just confirming that I'm doing this the way you want me to.
Uh-huh.
Then I give a big smile. So, but I'm with you. I think we should have options and we should design a program that works for us.
Right. Because there's so many things out there, so many,
Oh my God, we have so many choices. Eesh.
you know, I bought this ticket to one time to a personal development seminar at the beginning of my journey. And because I didn't ask the question, right? And because I didn't want to go the same date as the person we were going to buy together with, I bought my own ticket and spend extra money on it, right? And knowing what I know now, the question is, we want to split the ticket and we want to go on different events. Is that okay? And I'm sure it would have been fine. But I was so restricted in my thinking that it was like, you missed 100% of the shots you don't take, right? And I look back and I'm like, wow, it was just a simple question. All I did was needed to do was ask. And you just need to ask. Like, so I generally record my podcast during the day and somebody said, "Hey, that's not going to work for me. Would you consider making a later appointment with me?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure. Yeah, I can do that. It's easy
Yeah.
enough." But because he asked, and it was just a sim, I just had to put a schedule out there. And if it doesn't work for everybody, if you reach out and you say, "Hey, can we do a different time?" Yeah, I can do a different time. I'm pretty
Yeah.
flexible.
Yeah. No, I know. I was approached by a podcast in Sweden or Switzerland, somewhere like that. And so they sent me times for the podcast, and it was like 1 and 2 a.m. my time because I'm in California. And I
Uh-huh.
wrote to him and I said, because we had a pre-call, and I said, I would love to be on your podcast, but is there any way you'd consider? And I know a lot of podcasters set up their filming schedule at certain times. And I said, I'd really love to be on your podcast. Is there any way you would open up a window in a time slot that I can go with? Because 2 a.m. isn't going to work for me. And and I never heard back from him again.
Uh-huh. So that
And I
there's
thought, okay, yeah, all right, that's fine. Can't help it.
you know
But
That's so interesting. Like I can't I'm a morning person. So like I can get up a couple hours earlier and do a podcast, but for me to do it after the end of the whole day and then stay up an extra 3 or 4 hours to do your podcast, I'm not going to have anything for you.
yeah, no, I know, and I've been on podcasts in Australia, and I'm always online at 8, 9 o'clock at night. Fine, I can do that, and I try to be as flexible with time, especially because I like having a worldwide audience, and I hated not being able to be on his podcast because we really had a great connection when we did the pre-interview, and I thought, he had a lot of similar thoughts to I do, and how people go about. Like you said, I don't insist. If I ever go to a workshop and the person leading it says, "You must do it this way. You must follow this program step by step by step." And it's like, all right, I'm out of here. Thank you very much. See ya.
Yep. Hey, so what was one of your biggest rise from the ashes and moment in your life or your own career that you'd like to share with the audience so we can learn from you?
My biggest rise, one of them. Well, I'll tell you, this is the funny one, and my partner always gets upset with it. Because of my history, I had real trouble forming relationships, especially with women. I didn't trust them.
Either.
Nope, didn't trust them. I had a mother and an older sister. My older sister did everything in her power to make my life miserable. My mom was she was a damaged woman. I reached a level of compassion and forgiveness with her. But still for me, forming relationships with women was hard. And men too, because all I wanted to do was to prove to my dad that I was worthy. So I always looked for guys that really weren't interested in me because I thought, oh, if I could get them to love me, then I can show dad, and dad will love me then. So it's an old story. It's not something. It wasn't unique to me. So here I am, 55 years old, and by the way, I hated dating. Dating to me is an extended job interview. How many brothers and sisters do you have? Where are you from? What kind of work do you do? It's like, ugh, ugh. I can't stay. I hate job interviews, so you think I'm going to like going on dates. Didn't like it. So I didn't date much, and if I did get a boyfriend, it didn't last very long. I think my longest one at that point was about 9 weeks. It wasn't long at all. So, well,
I don't know.
huh?
I don't know how to date.
Yeah, trust me, a lot of people don't. In high school, I did keep a boyfriend around so I could go to proms, but he wasn't really a boyfriend. It was just somebody, I used him mercilessly. It was terrible. So here I am in my mid 50s thinking, cool, I'm set. I'm pretty happy in my life. I travel, I do my own thing. I'm fine. I'm okay with that. And lo and behold, this guy I'd been friends with, I had met on a project, and he was British, which is my favorite thing in the world. And I said one day, I'm going to take off the summer and move to England. My condo's remodeled. I'm going to have somebody I'll rent it out. I always wanted to live in England, so I moved to England, and I let Simon know that I was going to England for the summer. And he said, when I'm over there, I'll look you up. I said, oh, okay, because he came over to see his family. And to me, England's small. You know, you can. I live in California. When I was in New Zealand is smaller than California. So I don't think England's much bigger. It is, but that's the mindset. So I just said I didn't even think about where he was. Well, it turns out I was in this very remote cottage in the middle of nowhere, and the closest town, which was about a 30-minute drive away, was where Simon was from.
Oh, wow.
So when Simon came for the for this program he was doing, because he's a musician and he was going to a music program, music school. He came over, we met, he took me out to dinner, and then when he drove me back to the cottage that night, it was like, huh, there's something more here besides friendship. And Simon said, yeah, I think there's a relationship here. I said, how could that be? We haven't even gone on a date. And he said, what are you doing tomorrow night? I know a great pub in Leslie. We'll go out to dinner. We've been together ever since.
Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah, never dated, never
Yeah.
did. And I finally had just said, I'm not going to try to be anything but me. And that's what I was trying to do. I was trying to figure out who I needed to be to have a relationship. And like I said, I was terrible at dating. I was terrible at any relationship. But this really just caught me by surprise, and I actually fought it for a couple of years. I broke up with him like every other day for a couple of years. And because I was scared. I was scared. I didn't know how to trust that I could be in a relationship.
Oh, wow. And you got over how did you get over that? Let's talk about that because I'm the opposite of that. I just trust so easily and I'll just like believe everything you say and then when you lie and I find out it breaks my heart. So how did you help yourself with that?
Well, I had another friend because at this point I was healing my relationships with women, and I had a wonderful, lovely female friend who I was telling her about the latest indiscretion that Simon did. And she said, oh, Carrie, shut up. Stop breaking up with him and just let him love you. You're just afraid because he loves you. And you don't know how to handle that because your dad didn't love you. You know how to long for them to fall in love with you. And here's a man who loves you.
So
Just
you
stop and let him love you.
somebody helped you. That's awesome.
Yep, yep. So I laugh about it all the time. When we had our 10-year anniversary, I called her and I said, hey, Mliss, 10 years. She said, I told you.
Uh-huh.
I mean, but can you imagine never having a boyfriend and then all of a sudden you're in this committed relationship? I mean, crazy, crazy. So anything can happen.
That's great that you opened that door and you were allowed, and it was even better that your friends had said to you to make you help you understand, make you aware of what you were doing, because in emotional intelligence, awareness is so important. You can't change what you're not aware of, right? So that's what
Absolutely. Yeah, and people will say to me, "What's your first step? What's the first step you tell people to do when they're rewriting their stories?" I said they have to be aware of the old story. They have to know the one they're living now. You can't rewrite the script if you don't know what the old one is.
exactly. You have to rewrite it because you
Yeah, yeah.
it. And some people don't even see the patterns, right?
No, we're too busy living them.
Right. So I know that I had taken a break from dating because the same gentleman would show up, gentleman would show up, you know, just same habits, but in a different form, and
Yeah,
never appreciated me. I could never do anything right. It was just a recreation of my whole childhood that, I can't please you. I can't do anything right. I'm incompetent, all that stuff. And it's like, you know what? I just need to take a break here. I'm
yeah,
every once in a while I go on a date, and it's amusing now. It's fun for me because I'm like, okay, is this one like any of the past ones? Do I see any? And I'm like, okay, what are the patterns here? Are there any? Is this a new one? And I'm aware, and the right person hasn't presented themselves yet. And
yeah,
then,
yeah. And I used to write it down. I used to write down what my old patterns were.
good.
Okay. My old pattern is I do X, Y, and Z. Then I get scared. Then I walk in circles. Then I complain. Then I blame. Then I get scared again. Then I get through a manic period where I think I'm just going to go for it and it'll get done. And then when that doesn't work right away, I get back into the, so it was this ongoing cycle.
Uh-huh. And that's so great that you were able to write down your patterns. So is that how you help your clients? You have them write down their patterns?
Either write them down or speak them. Sometimes speaking them out loud into a recording or on a camera, filming themselves talking about it. But getting that out. Yeah. You have to get that information out of you
Yes.
because it's living, it's moving in you. The scripts, the stories we tell ourselves are playing even now. You and I are having this conversation, but there's some story going on in our head about will I ever get enough money to buy that new car? Will he call me? Is Simon going to do this? So do I, blah, blah, blah. Are we going to get this done? So all these stories. And the most debilitating ones are the ones that say, do I really deserve to be on this call with this lovely woman? Is this going to work? I've been trying so hard. What's happening here? Am I going to get this done? So the stories that are running that we're not even aware of right now, it's amazing. Our brains are so busy all the time.
Right. And kids are even exposed to so much more information. I'm grateful when I was a child, we didn't have all this stuff that we have now, and
Yeah,
your brains are processing that so quick,
yeah,
so fast.
yeah,
It's just the whole thing is amazing.
yeah.
So, what are some survival skills that you have developed over the years?
Well, the one was storytelling. Like I said, as a baby, I really did tell myself that story. And every night I added a new scene or a new chapter. It was this big elaborate thing, and I was an only child, of course, because having other kids, I was the center of attention. I craved being seen so much because I was put in a closet often when my parents didn't want to deal with me. They just put me in the closet. So storytelling was one of my key survival techniques. Today I don't have as many survival techniques as I needed back then, but I did have one because money was such a scarcity in our family. My favorite survival technique was seeing as many ways as I could bring money into my life. So I worked at any job as long as it paid me a lot of money. I hated it. I was miserable. I was not a happy person, but I had money, which was something that was shown me at a very early age that you need money and you need a lot of it to get through life. So I would work at jobs just because they paid well.
So it sounds to me like you did a trade-off. You traded having money for happiness instead of thinking that you could have both.
Yeah, and right now, and as a result, but see, here's the lemon from lemonade, or what is it? There's something about that. So, I now put on a course called Money Rewritten, and I talk about how our money stories have affected our relationship with money.
Oh yeah, we could talk about that. My mother used to take my money, and her parents used to take their money.
Yeah, they're passed down, they're generational. And my favorite one is when I did a free group to practice my class. And one of the women just really got upset with me. And she said, "You're not going to charge money for this, are you?" And I said, "Well, yeah. You know, money is really just exchange of value for value, but we've made it this big monster or this big golden goose, and it's none of that." And she said, "Well, don't you want to be of service?"
I can do
What's
both.
being of service got to do with making money? Well, you're here to help people, so you shouldn't be charging for that. Hmm. Hmm. Okay. That's
Yeah.
an interesting idea.
You know what the other thought was that, my thought of that is if people don't pay for it, they don't value it.
That's right. That's exactly right. And I just said it's not mutually exclusive. Being of service doesn't mean you don't get paid.
Exactly. So recently, I had somebody reach out to me, and he's reached out to me and said exactly the same thing many times before. And in the past, I've reached out and made a phone call and called him. This time I sent him my calendar link. Because my time is valuable and I want you to understand that I have a limited amount. So I sent the link because it's for a limited amount of time, right? And I want
Mhm.
you to understand that I'm giving you some of my time and it's valuable to me. And he never made an appointment.
No, no, but they want to see, and you know what? I don't want to waste my time with those people anymore either. It's okay.
That's why I sent the calendar link because I just felt like there was nothing there. I felt like he just wanted to say he was trying without actually trying.
Yeah, yeah. It's okay.
Oh yeah, no, it's fine. I was like, it's a great learning experience. It's like because I valued myself and my time, and I've done that before. Like I sent my calendar link to a friend that I've known since 17, right? And he got really mad at me. I'm like, listen, I'm busy. You want to talk to me. You want me to have time for you. Make an appointment so that I can focus on you. Because if you call me when I'm in the middle of an errand, you're going to get half of me because I'm doing something while
Yeah.
you're not paying attention. So it's respect for both of us. Never heard from that person either.
It happens. It happens because you know what? You reminded him of how he felt, how little he felt of himself.
There's a thought.
Yeah,
That's
when we hold our boundaries and hold our own value, the people are starting to see, well, wait a minute, does that mean I have to value myself? I'm not valuable. So you unconsciously pushed his button about he didn't value himself.
yeah, yeah, he probably didn't. That's
Yeah,
very
yeah. He has to find somebody that supports his story. We tell our stories because we either want to be supported and proved right, or get the feedback of what a great person you are for what you did.
yeah. Do you find that it's hard for people to rewrite that story? Or
I think the hardest thing is they don't believe they can.
hmm, I
And,
can relate to that because when I started this journey 7, 8 years ago,
hmm
I I I didn't know what was possible, but I knew I was going in a better direction. I said, I'm gonna go anyway, right? And
hmm
I had trouble believing over time. And somebody had once said to me, are you willing to be willing? to believe. And because I couldn't believe and I didn't believe, I said, well, I'm willing to believe. And then
Mm-hmm.
open the door for my mind to believe. Just
Mm-hmm.
saying that one little thing. Does that help? Do you tell people things like that?
Mm-hmm. And I also tell people, if you're really not motivated to change, please don't come to my class.
Right.
Because I don't want you using my class to prove that it doesn't work. Excuse me.
I agree with you. So when I work with my one-on-one clients, I ask them, are you ready for change? Because this is going to come with change, and will you do the work?
Yeah.
Get a no to either one of them. I'm like, okay, well, when you're ready, come back.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's not waste anyone's time. Because I'll tell you what, if you work with me, you'll see changes in 2 or 3 sessions. This doesn't take years.
No, as long as you do the work and you're
Yeah,
open.
you have to do the work if you're motivated. But I always get people to have these aha moments that really just go, And when you get that aha moment, you kind of stop what you were doing because you can't anymore because that awareness comes in. When you get that awareness, you almost can't be the same person. I call it a micro moment of change. Oh my God.
Right?
Yeah,
Oh my God. And that happens. It's like
yeah.
I had one of those the other day because
Tell me.
I'm on this journey to grow as a person, and you can only see in somebody else what you see in yourself. That's what I've heard.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody at my job was struggling with her coworkers, and she had opened up to me, and I said to her, "You're a beautiful young woman, and that's half your issue because you outshine most of the other people here, and they're jealous of you. Don't talk
Mm,
because they're not your friends." Because I lived it, right? And I thought everybody
yeah,
was my friend, and everybody was going to be nice to me, and everybody was going to
yeah,
love me. And a lot of
yeah,
those people were evil. And
yeah,
aha moment was like I was relating her to me in my 20s, which I never felt beautiful. I never felt that. I was never told that. And it doesn't matter when it happens. It's like if I can relate that story to her, okay, I was a beautiful 20-year-old and I have some nice pictures I can go look at.
yeah, yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
Well, Carrie, this has been great. I have two more questions for you, and whether you repeat your what something you already said, but what's one piece of advice you want to give my audience that will help them? Because if I know that if you repeat it, it's so valuable that they need to hear it again, or you can always give them something new. What would you like to tell them?
I, Pretend you're sitting in a movie theater watching your life play out. That'll give you the first bit of awareness. Think about what you've done and what the patterns are because you need that awareness. Awareness, awareness, awareness. You need to see what you're doing so that and then here's the other part. You don't have to change. But when you look at what you're doing, make a choice. At least be empowered about it. If you want to keep doing the same pattern, great. But choose it. Choose it.
Oh, that's awesome. And so, Carrie, when somebody wants to learn more from you, how can they find you?
Find me at carriekcwest.com. I believe it's on the screen. Yeah, carriekcwest.com. CarrieKCWEST.com. And you can email me at carrie@carriekcwest.com.
Awesome. And this is Lisa. My name is Lisa Manzo. This has been the Phoenix Mind podcast, and I'll see you on the next episode.
Yay!
This is the Phoenix Mind, where the fire refines. Together we rise, transform our lives.